Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the most fun panel of the day. Glad you all can make it. My name is Pedro Miranda. I formerly lead growth at the creator economy vertical at the Solana Foundation and do other consumer-focused things. Really exciting panel in terms of consumer crypto, specifically on Solana. Let's just get right into it. Excited to be with you all here. If Alex, you guys can introduce yourselves and a quick primer about your project, and we can go from there.
Thanks, Pedro. Hi, I'm Alex Hodes, one of the co-founders of Popset. We are an on-chain social network on Solana, already live on both the Apple and Google App Store, so go download it today. We're looking to take blockchain and make a very good Web2 product, which is social, much better by enabling patronage via digital collectibles. We turn all of your social posts that you make on Popset into a collectible that your audience can come in and buy and provide you support. And this is really great for rising creators who can't today tap into monetization on Web2 social. It's just hard. You have to have massive followings, get brand deals. You really don't own your content in the same way there. So yeah, we think blockchain is a really, really powerful tool that can better empower creators.
Hey, I'm Carrie. I'm the co-founder and CTO of BAXUS. We're a peer-to-peer marketplace for whiskey, for fine and rare wines and spirits. And we have an app as well that allows you to track and store your collection. And then you can sell your bottles on our site for, and we take a much less, smaller fee than a lot of different auction houses. And we're a lot more secure than the classic sort of dark markets of Facebook and things like that. So, yeah.
My name is Pontus. I'm one of the contributors to Bonk. Bonk is many things, but it is also a dog.
I'm Isaac. I'm one of the co-founders of CHOMP, which is basically a gamified prediction market to create like massively high signal information.
So on the previous panel, we heard talk about Moonshot, Polymarket, other crypto applications, but even to take a step back on the consumer end, can you explain to the audience why each of your projects actually needs a blockchain to actually succeed and function on a day-to-day basis?
I'll start again. So the way I was mentioning before, we think we can take blockchain to make a really good Web2 product that is social better is by putting your content on chain, providing this, it almost serves, so your posts become NFTs on Popset. But it's not so much about the image, it's about what that token represents. And it's a permanent record of that social interaction. And there's lots of ways that we can all use our imagination, how that can be valuable longer term. But more than anything, it's a way that me, as one of your supporters, if you're a content creator, I can signal to you, signal to the world really, that I supported you at this moment in time. So we think blockchain is a really powerful tool for that.
Yeah, on our side of things, we basically have vaults where we store all of the whiskey, and then you're able to sell it on the marketplace. And every single bottle that we have in the vault is an NFT. So that means that after we authenticate the bottle, it's stored on chain as a proof of provenance and authentication. And so a lot of issues right now in collectible marketplaces are the fact that there's not a lot of price transparency. And so through being on chain, you're able to really bring transparency to these markets and really able to see like how all these things operate. So that's the driving force behind what we do.
So there's two reasons that we need a blockchain. The first is that we need to make a token. So CHOMP is built on a consensus protocol. And you need incentives to make consensus protocols work. And if you want to bootstrap that, you cannot use US dollars because that costs a lot of money. The second is the entire data pipeline needs to be trustless. You need to be able to verify that the inputs and the outputs are correct, that the compute is correct. And if you create a market, you can't really say, hey, we create like highly trustable, high signal information, and then not allow anyone to go verify that information.
Good question.
Why does Bonk need a blockchain?
I think that we can turn the question around. Why do blockchains need Bonk? No, I think, listen, as far as like questions go, this is probably the hardest for me to answer. But mainly because I don't necessarily think I know what the answer is. But what I can say is that the way that we are thinking about blockchain technology in general is it's a means to decentralize the attention that Bonk is getting. And whether that's on Solana, whether that's on other blockchains, or frankly just other communities, there are a lot of ways of getting there. And Bonk being a token that exists makes it easier for other people to build, as is like evidenced by, I think we're like rounding out close to like 4,000 projects that have integrated Bonk across various chains for a whole slew of reasons.
It's that's a really interesting point around decentralizing the attention that Bonk is getting. Tactically, could you tell us how that works in terms of how you guys are going about that? Because I think it would also inform how other crypto consumer builders are thinking about, you know, decentralizing their community growth and whatnot.
Yeah, so Bonk right now has over 800,000 wallets holding Bonk on chain. I think that's like native to Solana. I'm unclear how many are holding it on other chains, and that's not even factoring in all the centralized exchange wallets as well. And then on top of that, we have, I think, like I said, 4,000 projects that have integrated Bonk, and 10 official projects that are like part of the Bonk ecosystem, building like products that directly tie back into the token, et cetera. And then I think at least, and the number's still growing, at least as far as like my own research is moving forward, there are about 7 or 8 other like community denominated initiatives that are Bonk forward in terms of like distribution. And so when it comes to like decentralizing the attention, I think like the lesson is the more people you can get excited about actually building or organizing around your token or your project, the stickier it gets. And the like Bonk ecosystem has done an exceptionally good job of empowering both local actors, but also like online actors in terms of whatever action it is they're trying to do, whether it's like hackathons or building like projects like the ones on stage.
That's interesting. And I think to get very granular, I think we have a lot of different manners of how consumers can actually interact with, you know, your different apps and tokens on stage. You know, on one end, there's the view that consumer crypto should be entirely abstracted away, right? You can use your Web2 email, Google sign-in, and then there's the other, you know, viewpoint that self-custody really matters, and that the viewpoint is that, you know, normies and non-crypto native folks will ultimately learn, you know, how to, you know, the powers of self-custody. Do any of you have a strong viewpoint on, you know, the future of consumer crypto being abstracted away or self-custodial, and how do you all think about that for your application in terms of users using your app?
Yeah, we feel pretty strongly about that. So we feel very strongly that it all needs to be abstracted away, that, you know, people should play whatever games or participate in whatever markets through like credits or some other abstraction that is a representative. One of the main reasons for that actually is just the App Store sucks to get crypto apps into. And you can't really do blockchain transactions very well. And so you can't really go after like Web2 users if you have tokens implicit in your product, for example. On like the self-custody piece, like self-custody is very important. We also don't think that most Web2 users understand or are capable of actually doing self-custody. And so we'll probably end up doing shared custody solutions where like most consumers have 2 keys to a wallet and we have a third key that we can help them recover. But the idea is really that there's security there for the users, because most people who are coming to blockchains or using a blockchain-based application for the first time don't understand these things and don't know, hey, I need to save my seed phrase or my private key and like put this on a piece of paper and, you know, hide it in a fucking safety deposit box. They're just like, oh, this is like a password and whatever. And so there's a lot of security concerns kind of trying to go after these Web 2 users who just really aren't familiar, and they're not going to learn the behavioral patterns of Web 3, and they really don't want to.
Yeah, I share a similar idea or philosophy, I guess, because I can't tell you the number of times my mom has lost a USB, and the idea of like her showing up at Starbucks and buying a pumpkin spice latte only to be like, oh shit, I need to pull out my USB to enter like a verification code to like blind sign a transaction just doesn't feel right at all. I mean, just give her the PSL and like let's move on with our lives. So with that being said, like I've dealt with this question a lot, especially in my like former role at Holoplex. I really believe that the North Star is like the sign in with Google, and that we have one login that is social or whatever it is that someone is comfortable with, that enables them to access all of or specific portions of their digital assets on every platform. I don't necessarily know what that solution is. I think there are a lot of really smart teams that are working on it, but abstraction is 100% key.
Sorry, one quick question. Yeah. What's a PSL?
Pumpkin spice latte.
Okay.
I just found out about these like 3 days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, he had his first one on the drive up.
I thought that was like a crypto security thing, but that's
Anyway,
Pumpkin security layer.
yeah. Enough about PSLs. At BAXUS specifically, we've been dealing with this since like the first iteration really of the site, which was a phantom login, an email verification, and then connect your phantom wallet. And we realized at the end of the day that people just want to buy whiskey. They don't really want to download a Chrome extension. They don't want to go through that. They want to sell, they want to buy, and we want to solve the problem that is like the 3-tiered system in the US and how hard it is to find like fine and rare bottles and how expensive they are. And so for us, like we take the exact same perspective of abstracting it away. But then the thing that makes me really excited is that on our site you can you can pay with HelioPay. You can connect you can connect your external wallet, and that doesn't charge fees. So as an end user, when you're going through this experience, you're like, okay, I could either use my credit card and it's going to charge me 3.5% more, or I could connect my crypto wallet and it's going to charge me nothing. Oh, okay, maybe I'll like look into this crypto thing, maybe it kind of makes sense. And then if you sell anything on our site, we settle with you in USDC as well. So, then you can take that, you can withdraw it to your bank, but it's going to take a few days, it's going to be expensive, just, get a Solana wallet, withdraw it there. So we're sort of like easing people into understanding sort of the benefits and kind of how awesome blockchain is just generally, but not really shoving it down their throat in the beginning and solving the problem in the meantime.
I think what everyone said, I don't have too much to add, but the one thing I will point out is what we felt when we were building Popset was like, we know people in crypto care a lot about self-custody, and there are a lot of good reasons to care about self-custody, but the audience that we're trying to tap into, the audience of people that aren't yet in crypto, they really just don't care. Just to give you one anecdote, we're working a lot on onboarding college athletes onto our platform because we think it's a great monetization tool for them. We tell them that there is blockchain as part of the app, and they're fine with that. Not one person is brought up like, do I custody my own assets? They simply do not care. What they care about is, what does this do for me? You're going to let me monetize on your platform, and great, I'm going to get paid. And we pay people through a connected Stripe account. And we actually thought a lot about like, should we try to lead them more towards crypto? Because there are a lot of benefits to that. But what they're going to care about, what our users and our creators will care about is this helping me monetize? Great, what's the best way to get paid out? And the fact is, if we actually gave them the crypto option, most of them are then going to struggle. How do I off-ramp this crypto back to USD? So let's not make them go through that problem. We hope that a lot of them will get crypto curious, but you shouldn't force people in that direction.
I'm actually personally very surprised by the distribution of answers. I personally was predicting that'd be 2 versus 2 in terms of self-custody versus custodial, right? Like you both, Popset and BAXUS, abstract the crypto away, and I think I was expecting CHOMP and Bonk, you all to be pretty pro self-custody, which is extremely interesting. But you all mentioned acquiring Web2 users, and I think, in that camp of abstracting away and making it extremely easy to use crypto, how are you all thinking around growth campaigns specifically for these Web2 users? Obviously, right now we're sitting in a crypto conference, right? Where are you all spending your time in terms of acquiring these Web2 users? Alex, I would love to hear from you. You mentioned college athletes. Would love to hear more about your strategy there.
Yeah, no, so it's fitting because we're on a college campus. We very early on identified that collegiate athletes, thanks to NIL. So for those unfamiliar, not too long ago, regulations changed that NCAA athletes can now monetize their name, image, and likeness. So we thought this is a really good solution for those athletes who are struggling to monetize, because outside of your top football and men's, women's basketball programs, NIL funding really has not trickled down. But there's 500,000 collegiate athletes in this country who all have the ability or potential to monetize. So we went out and we hired 20 campus ambassadors, and they are basically doing content creation outreach for us on various campuses around the country. Actually, my co-founder, Sergio, who couldn't be here today, he's down in Miami working with some of our ambassadors from the University of Miami. They were outside the Hard Rock Stadium last night for the Taylor Swift concert, handing out friendship bracelets, trying to get Swifties to come on to Popset. Now, that's a pretty different audience than what's in this room. But I think we all would feel pretty good about the fact if, I don't know, a couple months from now, we have tons of Swifties jumping into discussions on crypto Twitter about why, Swift is their new favorite meme coin. Like, I don't know what that path looks like, but I think that's the audience that you want to go after. These people who, like, hey, they're passionate about something. They're super passionate about Taylor Swift. Let's make them passionate about Popset or BAXUS or Bonk and CHOMP down the line. But you got to reach out to new audiences.
Yeah, I would say for BAXUS, so we acquired an app about a year ago called Booze App, and that's basically sort of the heart of the bourbon community, specifically in Kentucky, and it's basically allowing everybody to crowdsource and vote on a fair price for all these different bottles, and so that when they can go to a liquor store, they don't get to feel like they're not going to be ripped off by the guy who's selling them a whiskey for like way above price because they're able to vote on it. And so we have around 45,000, I think, monthly active users. Don't quote me on that. But basically, we're combining the experience of the marketplace and the app together in order to really give these people an entire platform that allows them to not only source, specific bottles, but also sell and add bottles to their wish list, and then take bids on different bottles on the marketplace, and just really like facilitate that whole experience. So for us, once we solve the problem for the end consumer who's trying to just buy a bottle, then we've been a success as a company. So it's fun to do like the blinks and like the Lehman drops for the crypto communities in between, but that's just a little bit on the side, I would say.
So one of the things that we talk about a lot amongst all the like Bonk projects is that the crypto dads and the normies are coming. And for us, the strategy is really about familiarity when it comes to those audiences. And the way that we kind of think about the partnerships, I guess in like the traditional like Web 2 and even like Web 0 space, is how can we get in front of eyeballs as often as possible so that the next time we enter a bull market or interest in crypto kind of comes back, people are already familiar with the dog and have a sense of comfort in knowing what that might mean or what stand for. And so I guess the next question is like, what does that look like? A really good example is like the recent partnership that we have with Borussia Dortmund Bundesliga, where it's a multi-year technology partnership where we have branding in their stadium and on their socials, so that when those fans go to a game, they're getting exposed to the dog and everything else we do. And that's like multiple games, multiple like showings a year, if not like every quarter, frankly. And so familiarity is like the name of the game for our approach.
So I have to do a little bit of explaining here, but so the way CHOMP works is basically we ask people a question, and then they answer two questions. The first is, what do you think the answer to this question is? And the second was, what do you think other people think the answer to this question is? And that's what the consensus protocol is based on. And that actually allows us to create markets about intents, interests, and beliefs and opinions, not just things that resolve either digitally or in real life. So we can ask questions like, will Pontus enjoy his pumpkin spice latte? Or who do you think is, like, if the Trump assassination attempt was staged, which side staged it? These are all opinion-based questions, and these are all questions that everyone kind of has an opinion on. And you can create markets around kind of like these abstract things that affect people's future. And we see like a lot through these users that they're really interested in other people's opinions about these things, and a much higher signal piece of information about other people's opinions, where people are directly incentivized to provide their private, like honest, asymmetric information. And so because that's CHOMP's superpower, where we can create sort of like this arbitrary set of markets on like literally anything, we can go after these Web2 users who have interest in understanding people's opinions on anything. Whether that's, you know, pumpkin spice lattes or sports games or politics or where I should travel to next, or, you know, what people think about anything. And that is something that we see a lot of demand for from our current users, as well as potential users that we talk to, who are just really excited to kind of like see more information online about what people actually think and believe.
I think I'm going to ask one more question and potentially open it up for one question from the audience. But it's I've been thinking, as you all have been answering and comparing it to the last panel, which was filled with meme coins, degen culture, people dropping tickers on, you know, crypto Twitter and what to buy. And this has been a very non-speculative based like consumer panel, which is fascinating. But I'm curious how you all are thinking around speculation, especially from the crypto aspect, in your respective projects, because you open up crypto Twitter and you think like the only use case of crypto is speculation. How are you all thinking about that with your respective projects?
Yeah, I'll take this one first. So we use speculation to drive positive externalities from an economy. So speculation is clearly something that people want to do. It is a way to drive feedback loops in an economy. And it's, for us, it's about how can we take that energy and create a feedback loop that creates a consumable good that you don't need a blockchain to consume. So like the information itself, anyone can go see that information through the app, whatever. It just happens to be created by this on-chain economy where people are speculating. They do have these incentives, and the incentives are what imbue the information with like these really valid properties and make the information higher signal. And so for us, it's really about how we can drive productive work through an economy that happens to just be speculative, and how can we capture those users in a way that they want to be captured, give them a way to do something that they already want to do in better and more ways, and then create something with that.
I think there are a number of answers, at least from like depending on which team at Bonk you speak to. But as far as speculation goes, the way that I see it is we want to enable people to speculate when and where they want. In that case, it might be like on-chain dexes or what have you, or in like the traditional world, the ETP product that we're working on. I think if you ask any team that's currently building with Bonk, it's much more focused on how do we build a product that consumers actually want to use, which doesn't tie in as to speculation as much as it is this useful or is this fun?
Yeah, I would say I would really echo that. Like obviously there's so many problems right now just in the space that we're just trying to solve the main one of people being able to find bottles. But we're also definitely, and we're like building it, but we're really want to add like negotiation, different aspects onto the site. So either through like bids and encounters and more like auction-based styles and things like that. We really think that like that can sort of be like another element to it that would sort of allow people to have like more fun than just like going on and like looking through a list and then just like classic, you know, marketplace of buying. So yeah.
I think that speculation is something that in many ways is like crypto's first and perhaps best product market fit. But it's not necessarily the best thing for the majority of consumers that have not yet tapped into crypto. And it can be extremely dangerous for a consumer product because what ends up happening is if speculation left unchecked, typically results in a lot of people that have negative experiences. And so you can look to previous bubbles in crypto where it's great if you got in early, it sucks if you come in late and you're a bag holder and you hate it and you look back with a lot of regret. And so we're trying to onboard people to crypto. And if they come in and it's like, oh great, you can speculate, it's making money, it's going up, that's fine, but it's a kind of musical chairs. If you don't get off at the right time, you're left holding the bag. And so for us, we made a very intentional decision actually. We don't have a secondary marketplace in our app. And so we took speculation out of it. Now, I think there's elements of speculation that can be good, but you have to be very careful with it. We do think financial incentives, monetization via our app, is a powerful tool, but we want to leave the speculative side out of it.
We have a few seconds, so I think we're gonna ask a rapid fire question. One project in crypto that you use on an almost daily basis besides your own?
Helium.
Telegram to Pedro.
Drip. Chomp.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming out. I appreciate all the insights from this consumer crypto panel. Very excited about the future of consumer on Solana, and very excited for all the pumpkin spice latte references that you guys got in here. So thanks so much.
Thanks, Pedro.
Thanks, Pedro.
Thanks.
Thanks.